Welcome to another episode of the JB Show. Today, I'm here with Julian.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We're going to be talking about social media today,
Mhm.
and I think it's very important, as journalism students,
Yes.
that we talk about this subject.
We're both in journalism,
Yeah.
FYI.
Okay, so I think we should kind of start off with, what is social media? And I think we've kind of rounded it up to Facebook, Twitter,
Yeah,
Instagram,
yeah.
anything you can share content
Any
on.
application that you can share content or
Yeah.
participate in some sort
Yeah.
of social networking.
Okay,
In any shape or form. Yeah, pretty much.
pretty much that.
Okay.
So I think I kind of want to go over what you think social media should be used for.
Okay, so social media should be used basically among your friends, if you want family, just as a form of pleasure, not to be taken too seriously, not to be overboard with it, not to be obsessive, not to be compulsive, or definitely not to use it as a coping mechanism for something that you have, especially today with all the mental issues going about.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely stuff like that. If you can avoid it, don't be overly obsessive with it, because that's generally something that you should avoid. So if you're using it in a healthy way, that's fine. If you're using it for fun among friends, that's fine. And it's exactly what it should be used for.
Definitely.
Mhm.
I definitely agree with that, but I think there's a couple things that you didn't include that I would include. I think social media is also a way for the news to get out there.
Yeah.
Nowadays, there's obviously
of
newspaper
course.
and TV, but people want things very fast. In the age of information,
Mhm.
the information age,
Information age.
everyone wants something right away. They want something new. They don't want something old. They want
Mhm.
something right away.
Yes.
And I think that's something very important that you didn't really talk about,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think I want to kind of get into
Yeah, of course.
a little bit today.
So the way that social media helps permeate news around the internet, just generally, in every social forum.
Yeah,
Twitter-
there's everything, videos, news
Yeah.
articles. People are writing their own blogs.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And it's important to differ from what is real, fake, and
Yeah.
what's fake, what's just a joke,
Yeah,
what's a bunch of
Exactly.
crap.
I know exactly what you mean. There's definitely a good way to promote news and blogs among social media, Facebook, Twitter, but I think you also have to be careful with what you post, because you've heard of these fake news articles, and they end up being total frauds, and they end up either messing up someone's reputation or just it being a complete mess. One thing I want to talk about is you hear about on Reddit, back before Reddit even was a thing. Did you hear about back in when the Boston bombing happened? Reddit had a hive mind of people who got together, and they just started. They were using investigative tools to try and track down the bomber, and it ended up being the completely wrong person. It was someone who committed suicide 2 months prior to before it even happened. And we talked about it in class.
I think I heard about this.
We talked about it in class, and that's one way they use social media. They thought it was beneficial because they used it to try and track down a terrorist, right? And this person ended up being the completely it was a completely wrong person. It was some university student. They tried to make it as if it were some concrete theory, because they used facial recognition and they overlaid his face with the face on the security cam. But this was it wasn't the same person. And I think that's just one example of how it's mass hysteria and just.
But is that you're saying it was the media, that not media, it's social
Yeah,
media's
social
fault
media.
because it was too heavily relied on.
It was
that it brought together too many people.
Yeah, it brought together too many people. It was overall just a huge mess. It was you're going on Reddit to try and track someone down, and it's you don't even know if this person is the right person. You're
Right.
judging it based on uncircumstantial evidence,
Right.
Yeah.
So you're saying just leave it to the people who know what they're doing,
Yeah.
like the police
Yeah,
or
exactly.
whoever was doing the investigation.
Yeah.
And I think that's important and something I want to bring up as well. Just there's so much crap on the internet now that's being put through social media, that it's like I feel like 75% of the people who use the internet, I don't know if that's true, this is just my estimate, don't know how to use the internet properly. I'm gonna give you an example, like the whole vaccines, vaccine scenario, where they said that vaccines cause autism. There was one report that said this. There were hundreds of other reports that said otherwise. But it's now it's like a cult. This is now becoming bigger than it originally was.
What's really interesting is that you mentioned that, like, have you ever actually met an anti-vaxxer in person?
No, but I've seen it a lot on the internet.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. They've mobilized so much that, like, now on the internet, you see that here and there, and that's strictly because of social media. Because otherwise, you wouldn't like see this person like in Toronto or anything, right? Like,
well, I think eventually you would. Like, eventually you'd meet someone. Like, what are the like? I don't know how many people are part of this community, but it's growing at a rate that it's much bigger than it should be.
In my opinion, like, the way I see it is that I've never met an anti-vaxxer in person. I don't even know like where to go in this city to even meet up with one person, and I think that's something that social media does, is that it overinflates the actual like number that you think of how many people believe in that theory. So for anti-vax, it's like you have Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit, and those are all three outlets to sort of push those views on anti-vax, right? But it's like otherwise if there weren't these outlets, you wouldn't like hear of that too much, right? It would be a relatively small thing. But now that social media is out there, it allows them to have a platform to stand on and to actually give their views, no matter how negative.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it. What, like, their views, whether right or wrong, are out there, right? Like we can't do anything about that. What I'm saying is that people need to go and do research. Like, I understand not everyone has the time to do in-depth research on vaccines. I'm not saying, like, this research has already been done. I'm saying to go search this up on Google and do a little bit, a tiny bit of research compared to what scientists have been doing.
Of course,
But they're not doing it.
I feel like also the reason they don't do it is because they have very strict religious principles, or, you know, some sort of weird moral principles, because more often than not, it's often people, religious people. I don't know exactly which religion, but they do it because it's not the right way. I was reading a theory that there was an anti-vaxxer who did it because they were more into herbal medicine instead of contemporary, vaccines. So they do that based on just their own personal beliefs, but also one other person did it because of religion, right?
Right. But most of these people are doing it based on this one report that came out, right?
Which report was that? Do you remember? It was. Maybe we can look it up right now. It was like an anti. Was it really an anti-vax?
Yeah, it said that if by getting your kids vaccinated, it causes autism.
Yeah, but is that like a scientific like research report?
Yeah, I'm gonna look at it right now.
Because you look it up right now. I'm looking at anti-vax autism, and it's like immediately the first thing linked.
Research that sparked anti-vaccination campaign called an elaborate fraud.
Elaborate fraud, yeah. And I'm looking up like vaccine myths debunked, like that type
of
thing.
Yeah.
But it's also just a general question of like, I don't want to go too off topic here, but like, would you rather your kid have autism, or would you rather he dies of measles at 20? You know, that type of thing, right?
I mean, yeah.
Like just the general like you can use your brain, right? That type of thing. Like I think that's an important distinction, is that like you have to, when you use social media, you also have to be careful not to be too gullible, you know?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, no one's doing the research.
Yeah, exactly.
How is it that something from one report or multiple, even if it's multiple, it's nothing compared to the reports that say otherwise.
Yeah.
How is it that it was able to gain so much traction?
Yeah.
Man, there's documentaries that are made about this.
Do you really think that people have been swayed by anti-vax.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
genuinely swayed.
either they've been swayed now, or they were really worried before, and they're like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna use this one piece of art, article as my evidence.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
And it's like that for a lot of things. It's like that for probably flat Earth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Have you seen that episode on House where the woman doesn't vaccinate her kid, and she says because she doesn't want to line the pockets of pharmaceutical companies?
No, I've never seen that.
Yeah, no. That was one of the things that they said. It's like pharmaceutical companies like are like just making bucks off vaccines, but it's like is that really like a legitimate?
That's why you're not gonna.
That's why you're not gonna,
I mean, it's a show, so
yeah, it's a show, but yeah, no, people do it for religious reasons or for moral reasons or something, but I can't really honestly quite fathom how they would, to be honest.
Well, listen, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, of course.
But doesn't mean I have to agree with them. Other than like there's like multiple measles outbreaks in the area.
Yeah,
I'm like, what? Like, when was the last time we saw this many?
Yeah. Have you seen those posts where the person breaks away from their anti-vax parents and they finally get vaccinated at like the age of 16 or 20 or however old they are?
I've seen that.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
So yeah, I think that could be definitely a potential danger. Social media. Yeah.
People need to do research.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Exactly. I'm not saying they have to go fund a research lab. Yeah. I'm saying go on Google.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, exactly.
Google has so many answers.
The amount of clickbait articles that are out there, and people just buy into it like instantly, and it's like it's so crazy. And like it's stuff like this, like freaking anti-vax or something, or flat Earth. But I want to talk about the more innocuous stuff. I like when you see clickbait stuff where it's like, oh, this woman like, you know, her house burned down and she won the lottery or something like that. Check out her secret.
What? Yeah. What's the newest superfood?
Yeah, the newest superfood, and it's like a picture of like aloe vera or something, and it's like this is like stupid. Like have you seen the content that's on Facebook right now? Just like that's something that like I want to talk about. The amount of like bull crap that's just on Facebook is like gigantic,
and it's just flooding in there.
Yeah,
no one's doing anything about it.
Yeah, exactly. Do you honestly think that there's like an ounce of good content besides sports or TV shows?
There's quite a. I don't know what you classify as good content.
I feel like all the stuff I see in my feed is just like complete bullcrap that I'm not interested in, or it's just like filler that I can watch.
There's a lot of advertisements, right? And then, but the other thing is like, let's say I'm following like CBC, because we're good Canadians.
Yeah, of course. Can't be cool. Yeah, I'm kidding.
And they're putting a news article because, to be honest, I won't lie, I'm not gonna go scroll on the CBC website.
Yeah.
Just for fun. Mm-hmm. Like, I love the news, but I'd rather see something that's on, if it's on Facebook or if it's on Twitter, that means it's kind of important. So yeah, I would say I would have to disagree with you on the idea that there's nothing interesting.
Because to be completely honest with you, like I don't really see a lot of good content unless it's just something completely innocent, like just like a cooking tutorial or something. But I'm talking more like, you know, like and share this video, and it's like a picture of like
a picture of an egg.
No,
it's like a picture of an egg.
Not even that. I mean like the government spends like $1 trillion on this. They don't spend like $1 billion on like cleaning up the environment or something like that. And it's like, if like it's going back to anti-vax, like if you just look this stuff up, you'll find out that it's like it's impossible to do this. Did you see that thing? It was I think it was on Trending, where, you know, someone compared something like completely, you know, something that wouldn't sit right with people. It's like the U.S. spends like this amount on like the defense budget, and then they compare it to like, but don't spend any money cleaning up the shores of like some like foreign country or something. And it's like, or like cleaning up like any part of the ocean. It's like that's such a logistics issue. I think that it's like content on that gets shared.
You know what the thing is, people are, and I include myself in this. Mm-hmm. That a lot of people are just too lazy to do the research.
Yeah.
Or they just don't have the time.
So that's definitely a danger, right? Like,
yeah. That's because there's so much stuff, so much out there that it doesn't like I can just click an article.
Mhm.
Oh man, it's like the world's on fire.
Yeah.
I'm gonna believe it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm not gonna go on Twitter and search this up. I don't
Yeah.
have it. I don't care.
So being gullible, that's one con of
Right.
social media.
But I think like it's just the research.
Yeah,
It's-
research.
That's all.
Definitely.
That's it.
Definitely.
And the other thing is a lot of stuff. I don't know if you've heard, but there's multiple people who are banned from Facebook and Instagram
Yes.
in the last couple of days, including Alex Jones,
Yes. The
the Infowars,
Yeah, Infowars.
for violating certain
Mm-hmm.
certain
Yeah.
conduct rules.
Exactly.
But like who
Yeah.
and whether it was right or wrong, I'm not 100% sure, and I'm not going to comment on that. But it's got a thought in my mind. Who is in charge of deciding what can and cannot go on the internet?
I'll talk about that for a bit because do you know what Alex Jones was popular for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Sandy Hook.
No.
There was that one too.
No, he like predicted 9/11 a couple years before it happened.
Right.
Like he accurately predicted it, and I think that's where he got the majority of his following. Do you classify him as like alt-right?
I know a lot of people do. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't classify
yeah.
him. I just listen to him
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. He definitely has. I think that for the most part, he sort of like likes to joke around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
like
yeah. I
he
guess.
he's kind of extreme, but he likes to joke around. But yeah, he accurately predicted 9/11, and he called Sandy Hook a hoax.
No, you have to
Wait,
no,
yeah,
no,
was
no.
that-
That's wrong.
Okay, what
That's
did
right.
did he actually?
You have to go.
Is
listen.
this where I have to do the research?
No,
about
listen,
it?
listen. Yeah, you have to do some research.
Yeah, okay.
He clarified it on the Joe Rogan podcast experience. It was a very recent episode a couple months ago. I would go listen to it. It's like 4.5 hours long.
Yeah.
But it is so good.
I'll take a
It's
gander.
so good.
They talk. They sort of.
They
try
talk
to-
about the first hour. He kind of goes over like what happened, like his experience with like with thinking it's a hoax, but it kind of got misconstrued just
Yeah.
because of his past.
See, that's the thing that I
thing.
also think is that people on social media unfairly judge certain figures based on their political ideology. So they immediately either think that yes, like this person is a bad person because of his ideology, and as a result they just take it and they think like, yeah, that definitely has to be the whole story.
Well, no,
you know?
like if you don't share. I'm not saying what people are doing is right, but it just happens so much. If you're not the same ideology as political ideology as someone, you're just not gonna care about
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything that other person has to say because you don't agree on one
Yeah.
very major thing.
Yeah. So getting back to Alex Jones, he got banned off Facebook like
This week.
this week. He also got banned off YouTube.
Yeah, that
months
was a
back.
while
Yeah,
ago.
that was a while ago.
And Twitter as well.
Yeah, and I think that sort of just shows like the selective enforcement of
Well,
certain.
the thing is, they've explained it. I don't quite understand, but
Do you know what they said?
he violated some rules. I didn't really understand it.
It's probably, you know what it is. It's probably he's saying offensive stuff, but the fact that he's so alt-right or far-right.
But the thing is, you can say I read the rules. You can say
Yeah,
offensive things as
exactly.
long as you're not directing it at
Yeah.
a singular person.
Yeah.
My understanding is, that's
Yeah.
not okay. But
Like
saying
he
something
wasn't
offensive,
being racist or anything.
I don't know. I didn't
Yeah.
read I couldn't find the tweets that
Okay.
or anything because they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
It's just from my understanding
Mhm.
that you cannot say anything offensive directly to someone.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is fair.
Because I'm reading it right now. It said YouTube removed 4 of his Infowar videos last year for long-standing policies against child endangerment and hate speech. So I'm guessing that might be about Sandy Hook or his hoax. But the thing is, even on other sites, there's just so many people that still exist that like they do stuff that's very similar, but they don't receive the same punishment, like selective enforcement.
Right.
Yeah. Have you heard about Reddit closing down various subreddits that
No.
are okay? So basically, I'll explain what it is. What's happening on? Have you heard of the Donald?
No.
It's a pro-Trump subreddit domain, and it is people classify it as, xenophobic, Islamophobic, racist, all that stuff, because they espouse values that are obviously among what Trump believes, but also they sort of they like to joke around when it comes to like Islam, or anything that Trump sort of jabs at in his rallies, and people have been calling for the ban of it for a long time. And the thing is that on Reddit there's like this whole thing of people, they rally against other subreddits, almost like kind of like a mini war.
Yeah.
And they start what's it called? They start doing things that would be against code of conduct on Reddit, which is like, you go to other subreddits and you start like harassing people or threatening them. And people have been calling for the Donald to be banned for like a really long time now. But the thing is, there are so many other subreddits, not just right-wing ones, but also left-wing ones, that do the exact same thing, but they remain up and out of the spotlight simply because they're not like they're not like among like what is like what they're doing is harmful, basically. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, that's selective, almost like selective enforcement, but also selective spotlighting.
Yeah, but who gets to decide that? Like, who gets to decide what is on? Because I've listened to Alex Jones, and he says some very smart things sometimes.
Yeah.
So
You sound like Alex Jones.
What?
You sound like an Alex Jones
No,
fan.
no, no.
Yeah.
Listen, I agree. Some of the things he say are a little absurd, but some of the things he say are very legitimate. So who is it to decide that he can't even be on social media anymore?
Yeah.
Is why I'm using Alex Jones as an example.
Of course.
But there's a lot. Like you can report something. Mm-hmm. Anyone can report something to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Obviously, they're not all gonna get deleted or taken down.
Yeah.
But there's someone or a computer algorithm that will take it down if it meets the requirements.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not like the computer algorithm isn't biased, because it's implanted with rules.
It's embedded with
that have been created by someone.
Yeah, exactly.
And who knows what that person believes in, what they think the standard should be.
More often than not, when it comes to enforcing rules in any general sense, especially when it comes to adding certain guidelines for an algorithm bot, what often happens is that they try to remain unbiased, I suppose, but then they end up just putting in their own like values.
Right, because it's
they disagree with
impossible. It's almost impossible to not be biased.
Yeah,
and I think I learned that this year. Like even in writing, like you could see it in the news, what they choose to talk about and what they choose not to talk about.
Yeah.
Right. It depends on where you work.
Yeah.
And what it is. Even if you do not want to be biased, you are somehow going to be biased.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
You've seen those news stories where something huge happens, but the news doesn't report on it, or the news doesn't treat it as the same event, even though they're very similar, almost like a double standard.
Right.
Like, do you remember? Have you heard of when in Sri Lanka when the bombs?
The shooting,
the bombs blew up. Yeah. And what was it called? I want to get the name right. It was like the Sri Lanka bombing, right?
Yeah.
And Sri Lanka Easter bombings, and people sort of brought into the spotlight and said, "Hey, like, how come the news isn't covering this the same way they covered the Christchurch shooting in New Zealand, right?" Mm-hmm. Because and I was talking with someone about this. It's almost like, do you remember when they started tweeting about this, offering condolences, and they called the Christians Easter worshippers, right?
Who called them?
Certain politicians like Obama and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, they called them Easter worshippers.
Okay.
Like
I didn't see it.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, they call them Easter worshippers. Like, dude, they're Christians. You know? Yeah, you're calling them, like, imagine if they called them imagine if they called the Muslims in Christchurch. Imagine they called them like mosque worshippers or something, right? Like, just imagine how that would seem.
Yeah, I don't think that'd go over.
Yeah. Cause I remember it was kind of a big fuss. Like, the news wasn't covering it in the same capacity as Christchurch.
as the one in New Zealand.
Yeah, as the one in New Zealand. So people brought it up as a double standard, like selective spotlighting, right? That type of thing, especially in the media.
Right. Yeah, that's a
So
big problem.
yeah, that can be one thing, and yeah, just like you said, selective enforcement when it comes to certain individuals.
Well, it's not even individuals. And I don't even think it's just related to social media. I think it's the media as included, like TV stations or radio or anything involved in media, where the same thing happens, where they choose. Right, you're always picking and choosing what is going to be put on TV because hundreds of things happen every day, right?
Yeah.
But they get to decide what is put on TV.
Exactly.
Which is, I guess it
Like there's an executive choosing the content that goes out.
essentially,
Yeah.
but I don't know how I don't know if to classify that as a problem though, because it's just business. It comes down to a business,
Yeah.
right? You don't have 100 people to go cover 200 events, right? Like you have 50 people to cover like this
Yeah.
a certain amount of events.
Exactly.
So it comes out there's just not enough people.
So you think that sort of selective
So you have to select it, but it's a problem. It's a problem, but it comes down to business.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, but in social media it's a different story because people are being banned, right? People are being permanently banned.
Yeah, they're losing their way of living too because people also make money off this, right?
Yeah, but people can find another way to get their stuff online, right? If you get banned on Facebook or Twitter, you can just open up your own website.
Unless it comes to Alex Jones, where it's
he has his own website.
He has his own. Okay, yeah,
it's
Infowars.com. Yeah. But you don't think this has negatively impacted his way of living, just in terms of really?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not for him, but maybe other people. Like if someone gets banned from YouTube and that's all they're doing, then yes, that's definitely impacting them. But I don't think it always impacts someone.
Yeah. I think bringing it back a little bit, something that sort of is a pro of social media is the fact that you can now directly fund content creators through social media, like Patreon, right? Yeah, that's a pretty good way. People actually make full-time jobs out of doing like movie reviews or something now because of that. So say Alex Jones like created a Patreon, like he can fund himself through that, which is a really good way. So that's definitely a pro.
Yeah, like it's so much different. It's so different than like the beginning of social media. Like when Facebook started, it's so much different.
Yeah.
It's so different compared to then.
Yeah.
But it's also gotten worse.
Yeah.
Because they're able to create like bots that just flood the internet.
Yeah. You hear about the Russian bots, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear about the theory that Facebook sold information to other people?
Yeah, I
and
heard
Zuckerberg.
that.
Yeah, Zuckerberg was on trial for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's another one huge
Well,
huge downside.
I understand they're in the business of social media.
Yeah.
They're also in the business of collecting data.
Do you
think about it?
Yeah.
Because every time you're on Facebook, you magically see something that you've already seen on another website.
Yeah.
Because they are collecting data. Everyone is.
Did you hear what Zuckerberg did?
What did he do?
He sold information on Facebook to like this Russian like cyber mercenary site so that they could use for their own whatever purposes, and he was on trial for that. It was on Washington Post. He had to stand trial and deliver testimony for what he did. And I think that another bad problem is that people in parliament and people in government, they don't get how social media works, because you have these like baby boomer 60-year-olds on trial asking questions to Zuckerberg, probing him. And they're asking like the most simple things. It's like, well how do you fund Facebook? And it's like, dude, we run ads.
That is
like,
how
dude,
they
we
make
run
money.
ads. And there's only I was reading something. There's only so much you can do to teach those politicians, because you can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? That's it, yeah, right. But no, there's only so much advisory going on when it comes to stuff like that, where it's now becoming a problem in government.
Yeah,
because
why don't you bring someone in?
Yeah,
you can definitely bring someone in.
Yeah, exactly. So the way Zuckerberg kind of like wiggled his way out of that is because he was being asked questions by like the oldest people.
They spoon-fed him easy questions.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
That's exactly what happened.
And if anything, he looked good in the spotlight. Yeah.
They're like, you know what? Here's some easy questions. That's what happened.
Do you want to know what came out of that testimony? People made memes about it because he looked like a freaking robot.
Zuckerberg?
Yeah. Like they didn't care about what he had to say on trial. They cared about how he looked, because he looked like a freaking alien.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's also a really big problem. Just people not understanding how it works, and especially when those people are in a position of power. So they make these they make these bylaws, they make these guidelines that just like negatively impact people because they don't understand.
But they're not making bylaws for the internet. Like in the United States and Canada, I don't see a lot of bylaws that are related to, or laws in general
that are related to
that are internet related.
Yeah, no,
compared to other countries.
I think it's not the laws that are the problem. It's that you have these issues on the internet, like when it comes to monetization of stuff or anything, or data protection, that the government isn't acting on it. That's why you see in the EU they're having a bunch of protection acts going on, whereas in the US it's more or less
free flowing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't take it among themselves to protect something that you wouldn't think would need to be protected, like data policy, or maybe
definitely in 2008 or whenever Facebook started. I would never have thought that we would have to worry about this.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was wrong.
Yeah,
and I was 8 years old.
Yeah. Don't put too much stuff on Facebook.
That was the last thing I thought about. Was, you know what, we're gonna have a lot of problems with this.
Yeah,
it's just, it comes down to they need to understand it's not just the internet. It's not just social media that they're having problems with. It's the internet.
Yeah, the internet.
No one knows how to use it properly.
Yeah, you have to be careful.
It's not be careful. I'm gonna bring it back to the beginning. Research.
Yeah.
They need to know how it works.
Careful.
They need to be careful.
Yeah.
They need to look like, you know what? This seems fishy when it says that something that has not been said ever.
Yeah.
You know what? Why don't I do some research on that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just doing general research. Yeah. Looking it up. Yeah.
I can guarantee you most people have already done that research for you. You just need to type it in on the internet and something will pop up.
Or better yet, ask another person.
Ask another person.
Go
to the library.
Read a book.
Read a book. Anything that will help you.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, in general, just
do your research.
Do your research, yeah. Another interesting thing, you hear about the dark web?
Yeah,
it's interesting.
That's been up there for a while.
I think that's obviously it's been up there for a while. I'm just posing the question. Do you like? I think when it comes to older politicians making laws, they sort of like neglect the part of the internet that is not like looked upon too often.
They neglect a lot of things.
Yeah. They neglect that a lot. Did you hear about can I talk about the dark web for a little bit?
Go ahead.
Yeah, do you know what happens on there?
A little bit.
Yeah, people think a lot of shady stuff happens. It's mainly buying drugs.
Yeah. And guns.
Yeah. People think a lot of messed up stuff happens on there.
But it does.
Yeah.
It's not that it's not true. It definitely happens. Yeah. It's just not in the quantity that everyone thinks it does.
Yeah, exactly. I was reading something that they released these dark web clients for people to use, like Tor and stuff.
Yeah.
So that real like agents, intelligence agents, they can use them without being spotted by other, like people have a theory that Tor was created by the government. Good. And that they gave it to the general population so that everyone uses it, so that when real agents use it to go to visit other places in foreign countries, that they won't be spotted by like anyone looking at them.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know
but that's that. Would you say it's a pro or a con?
I don't know.
Are we still talking about social media?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, another thing, a con of social media, like a huge one.
Seems like there's a lot of cons.
Yeah, there is a lot. Yeah, I kind of want to bring it to YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
You hear about like those social experiments,
Which ones?
like just pranks.
Well, like what?
Yeah, like well, I want to talk about like, well, it's mainly for entertainment, like tipping a waiter like $100 or something like that, and then filming the reaction, or like camouflage.
That's
prank.
just being nice.
Yeah,
That's not even a social experiment.
Yeah.
You want? That's just being
No,
nice.
but I want to bring it back to the not nice, the not nice factors.
Okay,
of it.
okay.
Yeah. Do you hear about this one freaking idiot who he did a prank in London where tell me if you heard about this. He had a cup of water and he was splashing it in people's faces.
Yeah.
And in London there's a huge scare about acid attacks
Oh,
because last year they
no.
had over 500
Yeah.
or just under or something like that. So this guy, he was getting a cup of like water. He was going up to people and he was splashing it in their face. Right?
Well, that's just not
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. Think like and that's also another thing. They do that for the attention. They do that for the views. Now this guy's channel. I don't know. I forget his name, but it got taken down like almost like immediately, just because like what he was doing was so idiotic. Because he like
Is that a reason to take it down though? Like I understand this. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
for what he was doing, but like how many YouTube pages are there that are just stupid pranks?
yeah
Or stupid videos,
yeah
and you're gonna just take down one.
Yeah,
Why
I
don't you
agree.
go in there and wipe that shit out?
yeah with that shit
Or
clean.
don't wipe it out and get someone to laugh at it. Whatever you want.
Yeah,
I'm not YouTube.
like it's either all or none. That's the thing.
Right.
Yeah, you can't.
And that's I think we were talking about it before, right? Like you kind of brought it up
Yeah,
that it's like it's selective.
selective
So-
enforcement.
Yeah, like either do it all or do none of
Yeah.
it. You can't take out one because again, it's just gonna grow when one is there.
yeah,
There are a lot of stupid YouTube channels out there,
Yeah.
and just people talking.
yeah,
Some of me going up to someone asking a stupid question
yeah. Like
and trying to get an answer,
like
or eating food.
eating loud in the library or something,
Man,
or like
why?
playing inappropriate songs when your headphones are unplugged, and you're like, oh shit, sorry.
Yeah, and you know what the best part is? Do you know how many views those?
Yeah,
Get?
like
They get hundreds
yeah,
of
millions.
views.
Yeah. Do you know who's watching that?
Who?
Kids.
Other idiots.
Kids.
Yeah, kids and
kids.
other idiots.
Yeah,
Because
kids.
kids aren't
You
idiots.
ever want to hear the answer to like, why does this have so many views? You know what the answer?
Kids.
Kids. It's kids. It's
Yeah,
literally
because they
kids.
find it. Because
Yeah.
they find it funny.
Because no, not just that. Because like I used to watch that shit when I
Yeah,
was
because
younger.
it's
Yeah,
funny.
because it's funny. It's like, and you think it's real because you're so young, right? Like, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's like.
And then those kids are the ones who are making the new
yeah,
ones.
exactly. Like you think like, yo, I have no like respect for society nowadays. Like, dude, kids are watching it. It's not adults. Like the guy you go up to next, he's not watching that video. Like kids are watching that. Okay. Yeah, like trust me, it's not that big of a deal.
What's not?
Like just like people
The
watching
videos in
stupid
general.
stuff. Like yeah.
Well, I guess in this case there was a little more of a background to it.
Yeah.
Like there were some acid attacks.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can
yeah.
understand that, like why they would take that down. But again, if you're gonna take one down, I can guarantee you there's at least
The
mo- 10 more
10 more.
videos or channels who do the exact same thing.
Mhm.
So if you're gonna take down one, take down all of them.
Yeah.
But then it comes down to business because everything's a business.
Yeah. They make a lot on those.
I know. I
They make a
understand.
lot on those videos.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
who's gonna go and check every
Oh,
YouTube
yeah.
channel?
It's an algorithm now.
Oh, it's an
Yeah,
algorithm. But the
now.
algorithm isn't always right.
Yeah,
The
Yeah.
algorithm. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The algorithm is not always right
it's crazy.
because you know what? Humans aren't perfect,
Mhm.
and you know who are creating the AI codes?
Yeah.
Humans.
Human.
Therefore, the AI codes are not perfect.
Yeah. they don't
Hey,
work. Yeah.
listen,
it's just-
I'm
but
just
yeah,
I'm just saying.
I agree. Yeah. No, there's a huge issue with taking down content.
It just needs to be enforced, not selectively,
Yeah.
as a whole.
Yeah, as a whole.
Either
And
either take it down.
It's either all good or none of it's good.
Right.
You can't like you can't have that selective judgment on people's channels, because more often than not they're doing it because they don't like them, or because they want them off their channel, or because they don't, because you hear of this ad friendly stuff going on right now on YouTube, where it's like, if you if you swear in the first 30 seconds of your video, you can't monetize it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a problem.
Yeah, so YouTubers who have been like swearing for like a million years,
Yeah.
they're getting demonetized because they're swearing in like the first 10 seconds.
You know what else YouTube was doing?
It's a
They wanted the channels to go over each comment
yeah, each comment
to make sure that it's okay.
Yeah.
And they had to figure that out.
Yeah. Or they get demonetized, right? Or what is it?
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. But who has the time? Like, not everyone has the time to sit through.
Yeah.
Let's say like someone like let's say the NHL, because we love sports.
Yeah.
Here. The NHL is not going to sit through millions of comments on their videos to be like, you know what, this one's pretty edgy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna remove this one.
Or now,
because half of the ones they're gonna see on it are gonna be like that. It's gonna be like F this, F that, F you, F him.
Or now they just have a filter to block out words for comment sections.
Do
or
they?
Yeah, they if you leave like a certain word, they leave it for review. It automatically triggers now.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's how
Well, yeah, because then YouTube's like, you know what? That's not smart. No one's gonna actually do that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do it ourselves.
Yeah. And yeah, no, like I said, like people are getting demonetized, and now they're having to open up like Patreons and stuff.
Yeah.
Just because they make a way of living off this.
Yeah,
Some
of them do.
Off ad revenue, and they're having to go to a third party just to make money.
Yeah, which is a pain.
Yeah, because they're swearing. So I'm noticing that a lot more. Like YouTubers, they're not swearing as much in their videos.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of opens it up to a more
friendly
audience, wider age group. I mean, depending on what it is, but yeah, that's kind of a problem. But I can understand. I don't know why 30 seconds. Who chose 30 seconds as the limit?
Yeah.
That's a big.
That's just what they do, and also if you have because certain when you put ads on YouTube, the advertisers, they want them to go on certain videos.
Right.
So they're like, listen, we don't want this on like a video of like cutting like heads off chickens or something as like an like let's say you're butchering a chicken or something. Like we don't want this ad.
I heard there were problems with that too. There were problems not with cutting heads off chickens. That's not what I was saying. I'm saying like with the advertisements that they're being put on, because it's all done by algorithm at this point, right?
Exactly, yeah.
It's putting video. It's putting, there's loopholes on YouTube, right? Like videos that shouldn't be on YouTube, like anti-Semitic videos that are on YouTube, even though they shouldn't be, are now being have advertisements on them.
There was a thing I saw a while back. There was like a Coca-Cola ad on like a KKK video.
Right, and Coca-Cola found out about that and was like, I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, that looks really bad.
That kind of looks really bad on us.
Oh, did you see this Burger King ad that just came out?
No.
It's like so effed up. Like,
what is it?
It's Burger King partnered with Mental Health of America, and they make an ad about eating burgers when you're depressed. So they made this ad where it's like there's a bunch of depressed people, like they're down on their luck, they're feeling really sad, like it's a really depressing advertisement, but at the end it's like Burger King supports those who are in mental need. And it's like, dude, like it has so many dislikes now. Like it's crazy because
but I don't see that. I can see where the problems begin, but I'm like, you know what, that's cool for Burger King, like doing something right.
No, but that's the thing, they in the I'm gonna look it up right now.
I guess I have to see the advertisement to understand it.
Like in the advertisement, they don't put any like mental health resources in the description.
Right. So it's kind of just,
it literally, like, I'll read the description right now. It has it's trending right now. It's getting roasted on Twitter. It's like,
by like tomorrow there's gonna be like 300,000 memes.
Yeah. And it's like Let me look at this right now. Yeah, you have a bunch of depressed people, and they're like, "Oh,
what's the
like,
description say?
the
Though?
description is no one is happy all the time, and that's okay. That's why we created Real Meals in partnership with Mental Health America
Right.
to encourage everyone to come in and hashtag feel your way."
Okay.
Yeah.
But they didn't put any.
They don't put any
resources.
resources. They just say the
Ooh.
headquarters. It's the 70th anniversary of Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's like they're selling fast food.
They're selling hamburgers.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a little bit
yeah.
of a.
Or do you remember
Like
the?
it should be there.
Yeah, do you remember the Gillette ad?
I never saw the Gillette ad, but I heard it was a
It's
big,
like-
big problem.
Yeah, it's like
I saw there was an ad. It was a clothing company, and it put a shirt on. Shoot.
push on a brown person,
Yeah,
and it was like
there was a picture of a monkey on it, and
Yeah.
everyone went ballistic.
yeah, that was like yeah.
Everyone
It's like that's
lost it.
not what it really is. It's
Everyone,
just like
it was just a coincidence.
Yeah,
No
yeah, it
way
was-
anyone thought that through.
yeah.
But everyone's like, you know what? That company's racist
Yeah,
now.
that's
We're not
racist.
gonna buy from them anymore. That is definitely not what they were thinking.
Yeah. You have to be like really careful now. I think that's why they're hiring so many PR people. It's because of stuff like that.
Because
yeah.
I could say hello to you the wrong way, and it's a fucking problem.
Yeah, like like I'm sorry, I'm just trying to be nice. Like
You know what? I won't say hi to you.
yeah,
anymore.
yeah,
How
I'm
about
sorry.
that?
Yeah, like and people like they're being careful of what they're saying just based on like people overreacting on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
literally. Yeah.
I say one wrong word.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, like I'm completely I'm finished. Like I can't do that
I've been
anymore.
vaporized.
Yeah. But do you know what the Gillette ad was?
No, I never
It's like-
saw the Gillette
It's
ad.
like it was literally like 2 or 3 things that stood out. One was like a bunch of kids fighting and the guy saying like, "Oh, boys will be boys," right?
Okay.
But people are saying like, no, Gillette is saying that's toxic masculinity. Like you can't let that happen. Like you gotta do the right thing. Or some guy, he's like staring at a girl passing by and he's like, "Oh, damn, shorty," and then his like black friend's like, "Whoa, you can't do that. Like
Okay.
you gotta chill out." And it's like, I think Joe Rogan said it best. Like, dude, you're selling overpriced razors. like calm down, alright?
Yeah.
Like you're not the champion advocate for like anti-toxic masculinity. You just gotta calm down. Like it's like do you think like okay, people do this, but do you think anyone who actually does this is gonna see this ad and he's like, damn, I gotta be a better person. Like,
But what's the problem with I don't get what the problem with the ad, why everyone lost it on the ad. Like they were just saying general things that that's
Because-
not okay to do sometimes.
because they're selling a product
right?
and they're trying to like tell people who aren't assholes to not be assholes, basically. Like, do you like ask yourself, like, do you do any of that stuff in the video? Like,
No, but I know
Yeah.
a lot of people. I don't.
Like, do you know
them.
people who do
No,
that?
I don't know people who do that.
Yeah.
But I've seen it on
Yeah.
the streets.
yeah,
I see it happening. So it definitely happens.
yeah.
So
but
what's the problem? I don't
Sure,
get what
that's
the
good.
problem. Don't get what the. I
Yeah.
don't get what the problem
Yeah,
is
yeah.
with the ad.
Yeah.
Unless something. I still haven't seen the ad, so I don't know if something really bad happened.
it's not bad. It's just people don't like what's being
Yeah, they don't like.
told. Yeah,
They don't like a lot.
They don't. They don't like it. It bothers them. Yeah.
Everyone's so sensitive.
Yeah. No, for real.
Just start crying.
Yeah. Toxic masculinity really got to me. Yeah. I think that's really something you have to be careful what you put on your ads, because people can just like they can either make make it funny, or they can make it like wow, like why would you put this ad up? Like this is
Well, the thing is, on most websites, I mean, going back to social media, on most websites, the ads are kind of tailored to your cookies, right?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
what websites.
So if you've been searching up some really messed up stuff, you
Yeah.
might see some like really weird ads.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you would. Yeah. But yeah, have you seen that thing where it's like, you have these ads on kids' videos and they're clearly not like advertiser friendly?
Like what? Like I haven't
like
seen it.
like naked women or something.
Oh, good,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
On a kid's
On a
video.
kids' video, yeah.
See,
but it's
another problem with the algorithm.
yeah, and the thing is, this was like a Chinese like prostitution website.
Oh, it's one
Yeah,
of those.
yeah, yeah.
Those ads.
So
yeah. I've
so
seen
it's
them
like, and it's like
around.
on a kids' video, and like that's like another problem. Just
Yeah, again, it comes down to the computer
Mhm.
algorithms just not doing their job.
Yeah,
and the best part is when they come out and say, "Ooh, it was oops, we made a mistake.
Whoopsie. We made a boo.
Yeah, it's a huge mistake.
Yeah.
It's a fucking huge mistake,
Yeah.
and you need to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just swipe it away and you know what? I'll deal with this another time. That's a huge problem.
Yeah. But also, just in general, the media itself. Like, do you remember when Las Vegas, the shooting happened?
Yeah.
CNN was doing it like they were like on the block, like doing direct coverage. And when they were doing that, when they're doing like full coverage of it every minute, they had an advertisement for like Pepsi. It's like, we'll be right back.
But where?
What do you mean?
Sorry, where was the ad?
It was like on TV.
Yeah.
And like it's like they're doing stories about like they're just covering the aftermath of the shooting, and it's like right after it's like, here's a Pepsi ad.
Yeah, but that's more than just. That's more than that. It's a business thing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, kind of have to have the ads.
It's just like they're showing it every 5 minutes. Like, oh yeah, like brought to you by Pepsi.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
It's
and
like the Super Bowl brought to you by halftime show brought to you by Pepsi.
Yeah.
Or
But this time a shooting brought to you by Pepsi. Yeah. It just overall sounds like this was kind of a controversy.
No, I agree. It's just I think it's a little more than like ethics. I think it was a business.
Yeah.
Kind of a business.
Yeah,
thing.
everything's business.
Which I mean, like, ethics is more of a problem than business.
Yeah.
But in today's world, you gotta make the money.
Do you wanna go over how the media is sort of kind of playing into that?
Sure.
Just unethical. You hear about, after it was kind of a big thing, how journalists they're so relentless today that they'll do anything for a scoop, right? So what people do is that after school shootings, because you know how nowadays kids, they just tweet that there's like a school shooting going on, or they post on their story, and then the media tries to get that footage. There was a tweet of a kid who was like confirmed to be in a school shooting, like he survived, but he posted on his Twitter. And immediately when he posted on his Twitter, like a million journalists was just like, "Hey, can we do an interview real quick? Like, hey, are you like, hey, can we do an interview? Like, my name's like I'm Alicia McCarthy. Like, I'm with like RSJ. I need an interview right now." And it's like, dude, the kid's like about to die. Like, you need to like.
The kid's in the middle of a crisis.
The kid's like in the middle of a crisis. Like, you guys
leave him alone.
You guys just like chill out. I think that's one.
But you know what the thing is, and I'm not. This isn't a justification. This is just reality. Is that everyone wants something fast and they want it right away.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's just like if something happens, whoever has that out first, is the winner.
Yeah.
Right. And that's not a justification for what they were doing. It's just that's just kind of the reality.
Yeah. Because since we're both in J school, I just want to ask, like, would you feel comfortable doing stories like that? Just like asking people, because the thing is with these reporters, they're not even being like courteous. Like, they're not like, "Hey, are you okay? Like, all right, like, do you need like medical attention or something? Like, do you want us to like, provide something for you?" I don't want to say like bribing, but do you want us to provide?
What are you
like,
going to provide them that would be a bribe? Do you want me to call the cops? Like that's kind of what's gonna. That's the only thing in that situation. They'd be like, you know what, I should call the cops.
Yeah.
They shouldn't even ask. That's kind of just what they should do.
Yeah, but
there's not a lot like.
There's not a lot of like I feel there's not a lot of like empathy for like. In those situations,
no,
like,
I can see.
You know what I mean.
I don't know if I'd cover a story like that, but that's just because I want to do sports.
Yeah, that's true.
But like, if I had to, I would. I mean, I don't know if I don't know if I'd take the approach that way.
Yeah,
I think I'd find a more appropriate approach that helped both of us. Like. The people
to not appear as if like you just want like the story immediately.
Right.
Yeah.
But I kind of do want the story immediately because that's kind of my goal.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. So it's like what's more important.
Yeah,
And
I think that's a big problem today, is that because of stuff like that, because of breaking ethical boundaries, people see the media as the enemy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't.
Do you get what
I
I'm saying?
personally don't think they should, but I can see where they're coming from
Hmm.
to say, you know what,
Yeah.
they are the enemy.
And the thing is, they teach this in J school too. Like they're teaching kids, like, you need to get the scoop. Like, don't apologize for stuff. If you
We'll just push until you can't push anymore.
Yeah,
That's essentially what they
exactly.
said, and I don't find that an issue. I don't see that as an issue.
Yeah.
If you overstep your boundaries, okay, you know what? I'm sorry, I overstepped my boundaries.
No, I'm
Take a
just
step
I'm
back.
I'm just sort of providing what like the because
What they've said.
yeah, because I was talking about this with the family, and they said, like, it's become such an issue because it's just so much fake news now, and that type of relentless ethical
Right.
boundary breaking stuff, it puts them in a really bad light, right? And it's like we had a lecture on this, like, what is the boundary, like what's an appropriate threshold.
Well, what you in certain scenarios, I don't see where you can put a boundary. Like, what is the boundary?
Well, you remember when they showed us of that guy filming the dead body.
But it wasn't just okay. To be clear,
Yeah.
it wasn't just a dead body. Like, they were in bags,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm saying, you know what? If they're like filming the dead body,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's an issue.
Right, but what I'm saying is that
Who needs to? Because they say you need visuals. I'm sorry. Who needs to see the dead body?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you see the body in a bag being moved from one place to another, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's kind of significant.
I think
information.
that's just I think that's the reason why people see it as such a negative thing, is because it's like they're doing that and they're being taught to do that, and it's like, well, in their eyes, like, the journalist is the asshole because he's not putting his camera down, right?
Right.
So it just sort of creates this, like, uncomfortableness among the viewers.
But do you
It
see
just-
that as a problem?
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I don't necessarily see it as a problem. I see it as they're doing their job, but no one knows what the boundary is.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, there's like certain amount of
Everyone,
there's a gray
right?
area.
I have my own boundaries. You'll have your own boundaries, and the guy across the street will have his own boundaries.
Yeah.
You don't know what each person's boundaries is. So I'm pushing that boundary until someone says, "Get out of here,"
Mhm.
right? Like, that's really
Yeah.
all you can do.
Yeah, yeah, really.
Until someone tells you to F off,
Yeah.
you just gotta keep pushing because
Yeah.
you'll find something out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
But I see where
yeah,
you're
you get what
coming
you're
from.
saying.
I
For
get
like
what
people
you're saying.
just view it in a negative light, and it just sort of casts the media as like the enemy in a sense. I think that's why there's so much movement when it comes to people calling out fake news, is because of stuff like that. Because, like, they're in it for the story and just the story and, like, nothing else.
Yeah,
that
but
type of
if
thing.
they don't do that, who's gonna do it? You know what I mean? If they don't push the
point.
boundaries, who's gonna push the boundaries?
Mhm.
Because the people who are complaining about pushing boundaries aren't gonna push boundaries.
Yeah.
So if some people don't do it, why don't we just not find out about half the shit that goes on in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
government
yeah.
or half the shit that goes on anywhere?
You see, this is interesting because I was watching a podcast, and it was after a school shooting, and he made a really good argument that it's like, we, like, people romanticize school shooters so much, like the media,
In what way?
they show the person, they had a manifesto, they showed pictures of their face, full name, how many kills they got,
Right.
and it's like, oh yeah, by the way, like, he was depressed, like, he got bullied, right? And it's like they sort of paint it as, like, they romanticize it. You know what I mean?
I don't know if romanticize is the right word.
Well, like, hold on, not like,
because they're not necessarily saying, oh my god, look at this guy and what he's done. I think they're trying to give people an understanding of what happened, who this guy is,
Mhm.
and a potential reason for why he did it. And not the reasons don't have to be, the reasons will most definitely not be positive. They most definitely be negative.
yeah,
And I think we've also talked about this in classes. That people should know everything that is going
Yeah.
on, most things that are going
See,
on.
the thing about the podcast is that he brought up the fact that it's like, if you just said it happened, just said something happened, don't try not to not blow it up. Like I get that you should definitely share it, but if you didn't blow it up to the proportion that it was blown up to be, that there probably wouldn't be as many, because if you think like you hear stories of kids, they're getting bullied and stuff in school, and they hear about like a school shooting, and they immediately want to sort of replicate that in a form.
I don't
right?
know about that.
Really?
I don't know.
He was describing it.
I don't know. I find that hard to believe that if they didn't talk. So you're saying they shouldn't talk about it?
They shouldn't romanticize it.
But what are they doing that is wrong?
They're showing like the full face.
Right.
Here's the background of the story. Here's what he did. He's a normal kid.
Right. So what should they not include then?
Well, maybe they shouldn't go too in depth into it.
But they need. So then why do that about anything else? So okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But then what are they gonna do when someone goes and kills someone, like on the street, not school shooting?
Yeah.
I'm talking about plain murder.
Well, more often than not, they don't go into.
I see it on TV.
What?
Yeah, they give a description. They don't give reasons why, because most of the time they don't know.
Yeah.
But
No,
I'm
I'm talking like reasons why basically.
Okay,
Reasons
maybe
why,
they don't have to go in. They don't have to explain everything, but I think it's important to understand. Like, I think someone would want to know why. Who just sort of who kind of just comes up with that.
But yeah, see, that's the thing that he was talking about, that they portray them on the news and the media. They show background of like footage and video, and then it's like another kid who's like twisted does the same thing, because they see that person and they want to be like that person.
I don't think that.
Really?
I don't think.
All right.
I think it's more. That is not really related. Like, I think it's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. It should not happen. I'm not saying it should happen,
Mm-hmm.
but just because they see it on TV doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna replicate it. Or that's my opinion. I don't have the facts, like the scientific facts on that.
No, I understand. He just brought it up, and it was an interesting. It was just an interesting point.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. He also mentioned that, what's it called? Went over how the news, how they romanticize it, and just in general how it's like in schools, like, I'm sort of going off topic here. Yeah, no, just in schools, like how there's not really a real way. This pertains more in the U.S. How there's not really like a real way to like dump your anger, especially if you're like bullied or something. So often they go to those extreme drastic measures.
Well, no, there are ways, but people just don't choose to.
Yeah,
like there's different ways to release your anger or deal with your anger.
Because he was saying something interesting about how in the U.S., how they have like a zero tolerance policy.
On what?
For fighting in school.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, do you know how it works in the U.S.?
No.
If you get into a fight and you get punched by the other guy, even if you didn't do anything, you both get suspended.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. And it's like, he brought up the fact that, like, if you just not let the kids fight, but just not be so harsh on the penalties, that stuff like that might not have happened.
I don't know. I also wait. Who said this? You or
no? This isn't me. This is another.
The other guy. Because I don't see how letting kids fight is gonna do anything. That's gonna make, if anything, that's gonna make it worse.
He said that it was an outlet to dump their anger instead of them resorting to such drastic measures.
Sure, like, but if someone looks at me the wrong way and I can just go punch them in the middle of the street.
No, I'm not.
That's assault.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like it's like just settling beef or something
by
like
fighting.
That.
Why? I don't see that as right. I like
just to like it was a lot more eloquently put, but essentially it was so that they wouldn't have so much built up anger, because more often than not these kids are like super depressed, right? And by them like just fighting it out, not making a big deal of it, not suspending them for like a month or something, that they would just get over it and they wouldn't have to, resort to like shooting up the school or something like that.
I disagree with him. I don't think that letting them fight is gonna fix anyone's problem. It's just they're gonna have a ring, a fighting ring.
Fighting ring. Yeah.
Like it's not gonna do anyone
Yeah.
any good.
I also think that when it comes to stuff like that, like people, at least in the U.S., like do you think bullying's taken seriously nowadays? For me, it was.
I think it should. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think in some schools it is.
Yeah.
I don't know about every single school,
Because
but it definitely should be.
I w-
Like it's a huge problem because it's not only in school,
Yeah.
right? Like it
Yeah.
takes place out of school as
Mhm.
well.
Because I was reading that in the U.S. that they're sort of like they don't really give a shit. In
Really?
the U.S., yeah, they have conferences. They suspend maybe the other party, but then at that point it's just who's the guilty victim, right?
Right.
And so they do that stuff, but it's like some of the stuff that the bullies do. It's like if you did that outside of school, like you just go to jail, or you catch a case, right? But in school, it's like they always try to like devolve it into something that it isn't, right?
Yeah.
Like they have conferences like they call parents, but it really just doesn't go beyond that. And you often hear of these stories, and then the bullied victim, they end up doing something like really, really, drastic, pretty much.
Yeah. I should be taken seriously. Like it's definitely a huge problem. Like now it's not even that it's a huge problem. Like it's obviously a huge problem during school,
Yeah.
but it's becoming an even bigger problem outside of school.
because
online.
now online, right?
Yeah.
Now social media. But then there's the point that's brought up where it's like, well, you can just turn off your computer or something like that, or turn off your phone.
I mean, it's still gonna happen. Shit's gonna go online anyways.
Yeah.
Like if you're online or if you're not online, shit's still going down. So
Yeah.
it's happening either way.
Pretty much. So back to the beginning, talked about the cons of social media.
Yeah.
That's
Social media has its pros and cons. Like it's I think personally I'm very divided on if social media is good or bad because it has a lot of it gives people a lot of information, new information that they might not know. Like for me at least, I get most of my sports information from Twitter.
Yeah.
Like I don't even have to watch TV anymore. Go on Twitter. Here's half of the shit that happened last night.
Yeah, literally. Like just Twitter feed.
And same with the news. Like everything's on my phone. But at the same time, there's a lot of stupid shit on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
Like I don't want to watch these stupid videos.
Would you consider LinkedIn a social media?
A little. LinkedIn's a little bit different. Like it's
Yeah.
more of a professional
Yeah.
social media site. Like you're not gonna see a lot of stupid stuff on there.
Yeah.
Whereas Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and Reddit and all these sites kind of are a little more free flowing.
Yeah.
Where a lot of the shit is just there. Whether it's useful or not is up to the person reading it. Even like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, no, there's so much stuff online that's just completely
And
bullcrap,
no one's doing research. Or most people, maybe there are. Most people are not doing
They're not doing research. Did you hear about how they're now using it as like subtle ways of advertising?
The internet?
No, just I mean like social media.
Yeah, they've been advertising forever.
Yeah. No, but I mean like subtly advertising. Like
what?
Like almost like there was this theory on Reddit. It's called astroturfing.
Okay.
They take a post and they like bought a bunch of like likes on it or upvotes.
Okay.
They get like a ton of upvotes on it. But in reality, the post itself, it's promoting a product. And
right.
Yeah,
so
and
product placement.
yeah, exactly, product placement. But the thing is, like Reddit, it's meant for like a social forum, like so people can discuss. But people, as soon as like they do something, like as soon as they try to buy up votes and try to put that product in the spotlight, it also means that they can do that in a negative way. So
Right.
they can take someone or like someone's product, or say like even like a person themselves, they can put them in a negative light simply by making it so that like astroturfing, right? Simply by making it so that it appears as they want it to appear. So they buy likes, they put it on the front page, and whatever they do, whatever their goal is, they get like they get people to see it pretty much.
Okay.
So they're almost like manipulating in a way.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you have any last thoughts?
Um.
Wrap this thing up.
Yeah. No. Pretty much that's it. Yeah.
That's it. Awesome. Thank you for listening to another episode of the JB Show. Catch you next week.